During World War II, France made false promises to grant the people of Algeria independence if they helped them in their fight against Nazi Germany. Thousands of Algerians were forcefully conscripted into the French army, and many Algerians died fighting for the French during World War II. Many Algerians resisted French military service, such as the Algerian Islamic leader known as Misali al-Hajj, who was exiled to the Congo by French authorities, and the Algerian intellectual known as Muhammad Bourras, who was executed by firing squad after he collaborated with the German government to try and overthrow the French government in Algeria. After the end of World War II, the French failed to deliver their promise of granting independence to Algeria. Therefore, the Algerian people took to the streets and began protesting and rioting against the French government. However, the French authorities in Algeria opened fire on protesters and reacted with brutal massacres, which led to the deaths of 45,000 Algerians in 1945. As a result, the Algerian people realized that armed revolution was the only way to overthrow the tyrannical French rulers, and they began planning a full-scale armed rebellion against the French. In 1952, the Algerians were finally motivated to launch their rebellion after they received news of the humiliating defeat of the French army in Vietnam at the Battle of Dien Bien Phu. After seeing the French defeated by a technologically inferior army, the Algerians launched their own rebellion. In 1952, an Algerian delegation led by Ahmed Ben Bella, who was a former Algerian soldier in the French army, traveled to Egypt, which had recently been liberated from British rule. Ahmed Ben Bella met the Egyptian President Jamal Abdel Nasser and requested military assistance for the upcoming Algerian rebellion. President Abdel Nasser agreed and began supplying the Algerians with modern weapons. In June 1954, after obtaining military supplies from Egypt, the Algerian revolutionaries organized a secret meeting. In this meeting, a well-organized rebel army consisting of 1,200 men, known as the Algerian National Liberation Front, was formed. During this meeting, the Algerian revolutionaries declared that the start date of the revolution would be 1st November 1954, during a French holiday. On 1st November 1954, the first bullet of the Algerian Revolution was fired from the Aures Mountains in eastern Algeria. The Algerian Liberation Front distributed leaflets throughout the country in Arabic and French, calling on Algerians to pick up their weapons and join the revolution. On the same day, with the help of the Egyptian government, the Egyptian radio station known as Voice of the Arabs broadcasted revolutionary statements throughout Algeria, calling on the people to rise up against French rule. On the first day of the revolution, Algerian fighters attacked multiple French army checkpoints, killing 7 French soldiers. Violent attacks and ambushes against French soldiers continued, and hundreds of French soldiers were killed. After seeing the scale of the revolution, the king of neighboring Libya, known as King Idris, also declared his support for the Algerian Revolution and began sending weapons and supplies to Algerians from across the Libyan border. On August 20th, 1955, the Algerian rebels gained one of their greatest victories when the Algerian rebel leader known as Zigoud Yusuf led a series of simultaneous attacks against French forces in the cities of Constantine and Al Harouche, killing 125 French soldiers. Many other Algerian rebel groups were formed, and thousands of Algerians began attacking French soldiers and officers. On 18th May 1956, Algerian freedom fighters ambushed and killed 17 French soldiers, including Lieutenant Hervé Artour, in the town of Lakhdaria. The French were shocked by guerrilla warfare and surprise attacks, as all of the common people of Algeria took part in the rebellion. For example, Abbas Laghrour, who was a vegetable seller, transformed his vegetable stand into a meeting point for revolutionaries and planned guerrilla attacks against French forces. Many Algerian intellectuals, journalists, and religious leaders also participated in the revolution. Imams and Islamic preachers such as Sheikh Al-Arabi Al-Tabsi, Sheikh Ibrahim Bayoud, Sheikh Abdul Latif Sultani, and Sheikh Ahmed Chakroun called on Algerians to wage a jihad against the French. Many Algerian intellectuals also participated in the revolution, such as Muhammad Bou Suleimani, who printed and distributed anti-French literature across the country, and the journalist known as Muhammad Al-Aishawi, who published leaflets teaching Algerians how to conduct guerrilla warfare. On 20th April 1957, the Algerian Mujahideen gained one of their biggest victories when they defeated the French army near the city of Tlemcen after killing 700 French soldiers. During the same year, the French almost came close to losing control of the Algerian capital after the Battle of Algiers, in which 300 soldiers were killed. However, the Algerian rebels failed to capture the city, and the French conducted mass killings and executions throughout the city in order to suppress the revolt. However, anti-French guerrilla warfare continued in the Algerian countryside, and the freedom fighters continued to ambush and kill French soldiers in the mountains and forests of Algeria. The French reacted to the resistance in other regions by bombing innocent civilians in the mountain villages. They also bombed many mosques such as the Sidi Yahya al-Aidli Mosque. However, many influential members of Algerian society continued to assist the rebels, such as the Algerian doctor known as bin Ouda bin Zarjab, who provided medical assistance to the rebels. Because of the support of the local population, the Algerian resistance continued. On 11th May 1957, Algerian freedom fighters ambushed and killed 100 French soldiers in the town of Ain Kachra. The French were caught by surprise by this unprecedented revolution and were losing huge amounts of men and resources. Over 20,000 French soldiers had been killed in Algeria. On September 19, 1958, the Algerian interim government was announced, headed by the Algerian journalist known as Farhat Abbas, who became the spokesperson of the Algerian people. On 18th March 1962, Algeria finally became independent.